So yeah, guys. So today's topic is quite interesting, and it is, as you can see, data sharing. And since you're all highly experienced, I'm sure data sharing is a day-to-day process that you go through, right? A lot of upstreams, downstreams, then in intermediate processing, intermediate file receivers, then FTP in between, authentications and all that. So I'm sure every one of you have gone through that, and it's a kind of a daily process, right? So I mean, just for some examples we have given in the slide, like each organization has various departments within them. Like you can have finance department, then you have BI team, then you have cyber security, you have so many other departments within each organization, and they are all sharing data uh, within themselves, right? Either in the organization or outside the organization as well, right? So data sharing is quite an important process in today's IT world. And of course, when you're sharing data, the first and most prominent thing that comes in between is the security of data, right? So if you look at a grocery store, it will share data with the suppliers, right? Like depending on the stocks, what is the uh, raw material required, how much of the raw materials or products need to be go from your supplier to the grocery store. So you need to share data with that. So supplier is not necessary related to that grocery organization. For example, Walmart can hire some other third party supplier to provide the raw materials or the products or grocery items to them, to their stores. So it could be entirely outsourced. So obviously each of them will have their own infrastructure in terms of servers and hardware. So you need to share data outside your organization, right? Yeah, you're able to see my screen, right?
Yes, Abdul, you can see.
Yeah, thank you. Then there's a brand lifestyle store sharing data with marketing departments to study customer data and habits, right, for your data analysis, etc. So these are various examples of where you are sharing your data. Like sales data shares with finance teams to protect the revenue flow, and your product teams required for customer data to improve the customer experience. Executives need dashboards to with live data to take business decisions. So these are various examples where data sharing is required. Uh, so just to interact a bit on this, if you can briefly, each one of you can briefly give some insights into what kind of data sharing scenarios you are working currently. So if you start with Shiva, like if you can just give a high level data sharing from your team to some other team, or you're receiving data from some other team, and what is the process that you're following in day-to-day life? Like how do you share data, how do you process it, just on a very high level, and some technologies involved like that.
No, there are different ways based on the requirement. It is not a different team requires data in the different format or different way of sharing, right? Some teams requires the live data, streaming data, so that we'll share the
Yes.
topics Kafka. We will put them into the Kafka topics. They will consume it. Then other teams requires a conventional file load, expect in an as folder. There is a specific folder for every downstream application. So we will load the file into the location based on the every 30 minutes. For example, if you put the file in 10:45, they will have a job to consume it by 11 o'clock, like that. So every 30 minutes, every 15 minutes, we'll generate the file if it is a batch processing. And some downstream application do every 1 hour, 2 hours intraday. So some application do only once at the night, right? So it's a night work. There are different requirements and different teams. Um,
So how do you
right.
how do you firstly, how do you generate a file, and when you want to send that for particular file to a downstream, what is the process in between? Like
No,
you do
we don't need
FTP
to
or what?
we don't need to send to anywhere, right? Within our organization, we have NAS. NAS means
Network
network
access.
access NAS, network access folder, I think.
Yeah.
The NAS is the location which can be accessed by across the organization. Even if you see the cloud, right, we have a EBS Enterprise Block Store. That is
Okay.
the store is accessible by that store location is a NAS. That is accessible by everywhere. So it's a common place where we will put the file that can be accessed and archived by their consumer downstream application. It's not a single way, there are multiple ways. So we mainly follow the Kafka's and NAS drives within the organization. If it is an external, right, we don't use any file share. We have a web services exposed to. If there is some external application they wanted some data from our organization, right,
Yeah.
our platform, we have exposed to web services. They'll consume the web services. All the authentication authorization is already in process by the requester who is requesting our web service, right? We will have the authentication method established. Not everybody can request for some web services. We have an what is a certificate and everything. That's altogether different process. So if you see the ETL related process, only two ways. One is a Kafka real time, and another one is NAS folder within our organization. These are the two methods that we have been using now.
Okay, thanks. What about Venkat? What scenario have you seen in your organization?
Oh, yes, Abdul. Can you hear me, Abdul?
Yes.
Okay. So basically, the primary what we maintain our team is the ERP data. So from ERP, no data flows across the organization. So from ERP, no, we have something called as RMG, another server. It's kind of no employee top level allocation, which project or no which cost code like that. So base data for employee data flows from here to the RMG server. So normally we have a concept called as linked server concept. In SQL, we have a linked server concept. Through linked server, we'll map these two servers, and then based on the job, no, we'll migrate the data from the ERP to the RMG server. This is the one way of migration we are doing. And the next thing is that from ERP, we are migrating data to the external vendor, one client actually. It's from ERP. So what we do is that daily basis, the employee data, they need a increment employee data. So from the SQL, we'll put a job and it will place in the server through Python script. No, we'll taking that file and putting in their SFTP path, because from SQL job we cannot directly paste in the SFTP path of the client vendor SFTP. So first we'll put it in the R server. From that we'll write a Python script, and then post we are placing in that, and they automatically every 3 hours they will run their job and take it and put it in the server. This is the one kind of other kind we are doing. And the third thing is that is same as like no our employee data is required for the Outlook data information update for the IT team. So if we see any changes in designation or supervisor, that need to be updated automatically in the Outlook. So what we did is that we did a job and exported a CSV file and put it to our ITT. From there, they read and update in the Outlook. These are the various ways we are doing up to.
Okay. So mostly I'm interested to know the external data sharing, because so basically you are creating files through SQL jobs which are getting placed in some server. And from there the Python script is basically doing SFTP to the external server. From
Yes.
where, right?
Yes.
Okay. What about Vinod?
Yeah. Can you hear me, Abdul?
Yes, I can.
So basically, I'm working on a inventory management system, and the basic the source of the system is basically MongoDB. So from different sources from outside the world, many vendors will be there for our client, and they all put the data in MongoDB. From MongoDB, it will be like so single source of truth in MongoDB. From MongoDB, Informatica.
So they have access to MongoDB. All the external
Yes.
vendors, they have access to single centralized MongoDB.
MongoDB, and each vendor will have a different set of privileges, and different set of data can be visible. Not all data is visible to all vendors actually. Okay. So from MongoDB, Informatica pull the data, which is basically in the CSV format, and then loaded into SAP HANA database. So which is the staging area. First level will be a staging part, And once that staging part is reached, it will be populated, like the staging tables will be then transformed to facts and dimensions. So from facts and dimensions, we build data models and views, procedures, everything. So based on this only, for our inventory management, there are different applications that are built around these tables. So these applications are exposed to end user through Node.js.
Okay. And what about external data sharing with any external vendors? Are you sharing?
It is through only Node.js only. Node.js
Node.js. Okay.
application only. Node.js is the front end where the business end user will upload the data in either CSV or in XML or in JSON format, and those data will be consumed by our HANA database, where the business model is there, and that is stored in the HANA database itself. So basically, it is an on-premise only fully.
Okay. Okay. Got it. So let me go to the other slide. So guys, this is, I mean, more or less whatever you have said, you can see in this diagram. So the current method in the IT world is basically involving kind of tedious, uh, data sharing process. If you look at, if you are, say, a data producer who's trying to transfer data with a data consumer, or whoever is the consumer. Example, this is an external application which wants to access the data, and you are the source of truth, and you want to transfer your data every day, or as you have different requirements of intraday, you have nightly requirements, you have every 15-day, monthly requirements, like that. So if you're sending the data, obviously you are sending it in the form of files, either CSV, like all of you mentioned, we consume CSVs or JSONs or XMLs and all that. And then also, in order to bring out security in between, you uh, you know uh, you know do it through FTPs, right? Like file transfer protocol, and all those authentications are in there, SFTP basically. And then in order to exchange the request and response, you need to write your APIs as well, correct? And then you are doing your ETLs. Once you have the data, you will do some ETL here and then send it to the consumer. And by the time you send it, and when you want to send it again, it is, if there's any update here, obviously this consumer doesn't have that live, what do you call, the live changes, right? You have to again follow the same process. Obviously, you will be writing this code one time, but each time that whole process, whole data pipeline will run, and that data will get transferred to the data consumer, and then they will also process it, do their updates and all that, so that they are up to date, right? And this, so they will never be, at par with the changes here. The data pipeline will have to keep running every day, depending on the requirement, whether 15 days, intraday, or whatever. You will not have an instant, instant changes in the data available at the consumer side, right? So that is an issue. I mean, I won't say it is an issue as such, but it is, it is going to create time delays, and it could lead to duplication. And also this whole data pipeline maintenance itself is a headache for the IT engineers. If there's a issue somewhere, you need to first find whether it's a data issue or whether it is a SFTP issue. Why did the file not reach? Did we load the duplicate file again? So I'm sure you must have gone through all these issues, in this whole data pipeline structure. So this is a traditional way of, which is also currently being used. So yeah, if you see this, there's a relational database, there'll be a data set, and there'll be billions of rows. You need to encrypt it, and then you'll transfer through FTP, SFTP, and it will come to another database here, right? And then you have to decrypt it, and then you have to reload it. And so it could, in between, it could have a lot of issues, like data losses could be there, there could be network failure, and so many things, right? And what to hide, what not to hide, all those logics you have to write, correct? So this is the normal traditional data way you are all going through. Is anybody else doing it a better way here if you want to share? Because this is the normal data pipeline that is there. If you in an organization is doing it in a better way, you can let me know. I'll pause for 2 minutes. But of course, it has to be through external. If you're sharing externally to other
Yeah,
vendors.
Abdul, I was telling to you a use case. Remember I think last month or last month. So we send the files. We send some data to our customer, right? In that case, what they have given is they have given an AWS staging area, which is called external stage.
Okay.
Right?
AWS.
Yeah, AWS staging some S3 S3 location, right?
Okay. Yeah.
So what we have developed an API, Java-based API, which uses AWS put API, which in turn is called AWS put API. It will transfer the file to their S3 location. So the S3 location
for the
is
file.
actually the file.
Yeah.
So the S3 once the file has been landed into an S3 location, we have a built-in Python script, right? The Python script will automatically be triggered. For example, once the file has been created in S3, there is an option called events, right?
Right.
The events can in turn trigger an lambda function, right?
Right.
The lambda itself, right? There are multiple way of writing the lambda, such as there is a function option called step function.
Right.
So lambda has, for example, if the file is more than 100 billion records or 200 billion records, and you want to transfer the huge file, right?
Yeah.
So lambda, it is not just a simple select table. What you get the table and put it into and directly insert, right? It's a combination of files, around 50 to 20 files that we send them. Then there is a lot of transformation logic itself on the file itself. Because what we generate is different from what they expect. In these their Snowflake database. In that case, what we are doing is now we're implementing the project. It's ongoing. So we have ETL pipelines, right? In the Python-based ETL pipelines. The moment our extraction process have been copied the file into S3, so S3 events will trigger and call the step function, lambda step function.
Yeah.
The step function is capable of even processing a big file, right? It will, if the Python process is taking more than 15 minutes. Now I think 15 minutes is lambda function maximum timeline. So it will pass the offset and send it to the next another instance of lambda function. Then again, for example, there is a Python, there is a called offset. You can get the offset of the file. There are 100 records, right? Once the 10th record got processed, the offset will get update, right? You can get the every 15 minutes, you can get offset of the Python file reader process. There is a API, file read API. It will give you the exact line of the previous lambda function is being processed. So based on that, it will pass the next lambda function. It will keep on running. So even if it takes 15 minutes, 20 minutes, 30 minutes, or 50 minutes, it will entirely process all the records and it will insert into a Snowflake database. Using
so what is your database? What is your source?
Our source is on-premise, Exadata.
Exadata. Okay.
Yeah.
So I mean, still, you tell me. As I said, if there is a change in the data, right? So XYZ changes. It will not be instantly available to the Snowflake consumer, right? In your case, Snowflake is the consumer. So
no, it is not an instance, right? Our process is only once in a day. That's all.
Right. So whatever changes will happen next day, they will be able to see.
Next time that will come as a CDC, right?
Right.
If it is the CDC process, right? That we have established already, the Python will take care of everything. The logic that we built, right?
Right.
The Python ETL will make sure that if it is update new record or update record, that will take care of finding the CDC. Right?
So there is a time delay. So there is definitely a time delay to, of 1 day for your consumer to see whatever was changed, right?
Yeah, it is not required to be real time. It is not the real time transactional databases.
Yeah, that is fine. That is fine. It is not real time, but
Even
100%.
any database, right? Any warehouse, right?
Yeah.
The data are not real-time data, right? It is
Yeah,
a
I
last.
agree. I agree. I agree. Why I'm saying that? Because when you see this way Snowflake is sharing the data, so you will see, even though the requirement is not real time, but whatever changes happen, you will be as a consumer able to see it, uh, you know, uh, you know, immediately. And also the whole pipeline which people have set up in today's, it is whatever you're saying is definitely it follows this traditional way anyway, right? You're right. You have written a data pipeline completely from your source system, Exadata to Snowflake through generating files, then putting into S3, then that Python script does something and then loads into Snowflake, CDC changes, etc. Everything is there. ATL is there in between. So this is anyway matching the whole traditional setup, right? There's no difference as such in what this slide shows. So I'm saying, is there any better way which you guys see? We used to put files in some Unix server. All you are doing is that you're putting in a cloud S3 location. Else, the every process around it is the same, isn't it? So I'm asking, has anybody else done a better data sharing method which does not follow this traditional approach? That is my question.
No, as of knowledge, if it is an external application, right?
Yes, external.
Internal application, we have a Kafka topics, right? Every
Right.
change
You
is
have
called
that
Kafka.
NAS drives. You
Not
put your
not not
files in.
not the NAS drive, right?
Yeah.
If there is anything real-time update you want, right? The moment you purchase something, the same data has to go to the different application, right? Inside the organization, we have a Kafka cluster established. We have a specific topics. The changes
Right. So
will be recorded in the topic.
let's consider the batch related only. We don't need real time. So
Yeah.
what I'm asking is there a better way anybody has, seen or experienced in your, current working or previous working, which doesn't have to do all this lengthy process to create a data pipeline? I mean, if anybody else like Venkat, Vinod, or Shiva, whoever, like you just shared your, your way of doing right now. So like others is, I don't see much difference as far as this traditional setup looks like. So is there anybody else who has seen a better way of sharing data with the external, vendor or team, whatever? No, right? I mean, you have to have some pains taking when you are creating a data pipeline, right? And even when there is a troubleshooting that comes into picture, then you have, as I said, you need to look at the data issue, whether it is from the source system or whether there was, data corruption doing some ETL, there was some wrong logic in the ETL process, or whether it was a fault of FTP process that was written, it overwrote the file, duplicated file, etc., etc. So that troubleshooting is also comes into picture whenever there is an error or issue, right? So this is a traditional way. So we need to see. So if you see here, data provider, and you have how the data share house works. So this is basically the Snowflake way. Okay, data sharing the Snowflake way. So imagine this is the data provider, and this is the data consumer. Okay, and you have a database here. I mean, in Snowflake, this is all about Snowflake only. Okay, and here if you have a database here in this provider, right, and you want to share certain amount of data, not all, you want to expose some data set from here to the consumer. So there is no need of writing the whole data pipeline or SFTP, or you need to keep it in some staging in between so the consumer writes it, some Python script or any other script to read those files and then write another logic to insert data here with the tables. So obviously, in the traditional way or your cases, wherever you are sending the data, they will have their own database and they will have their own tables into which they will insert that data, right? Only then they will be able to access it. So they will not access it through the files, right? Ultimately, it has to be loaded into some tables. So, but if you see the Snowflake here, it is basically sharing the data through the metadata mechanism. Okay, for an entirely different data consumer. Obviously, it also needs to be a Snowflake database only. Okay. But you will ask me what is the use if everybody needs to create a Snowflake account. But you can park your question right now. That is, again, they have a workaround there. For example, if there is a vendor who says, no, I will not create a Snowflake account. I don't want to. So there's a workaround there also. Okay, I won't call it a workaround, or I'll say a Snowflake feature available there also to help you share data, even if your vendor doesn't want to create a Snowflake account. Okay, so as you can see through the metadata, this particular consumer will be able to access a particular set of data from the provider without any data movement as such, without any file creation, file generation, then move it to some staging area. It could be S3 bucket or some drive in Unix server, whatever. And as I said, some Python script reads that file and loads it to database. No, all that internal processing or internal data pipeline processing is removed completely. It's only the metadata information through which data provider can share a particular data set, whatever the consumer needs, without moving a single data set from here to here. Okay, so it, as you can see, and we'll see how it does that, right? Through a demo, of course, you will see that. But it completely eliminates this whole process completely. Okay, can you, okay, if you have seen this, can you tell me one example in Snowflake where you think you can relate with this data sharing? If you have your own, I'll give you a hint. If you guys have opened up your Snowflake accounts, yeah, is anybody saying something?
Yeah, information schema.
Yeah, that information schema is right. And anything else, a more maybe information schema is a very technical information provided, right? It's providing the number of tables, number of databases, how many warehouses, etc. It is about your own Snowflake database information. Anything external, like anything related to business data sharing. Can you just tell
Yeah,
me?
we have a data sharing, right? The common data sets that we have.
Yeah, let me
You
open the.
remember there are some tables which are external. We used to access them, right?
Right.
Data.
Sample data. Yes, sample data.
Sample database, correct? So if you see this arrow here, right? This is basically shared. This Snowflake sample data is sitting somewhere else actually. And they have by default shared with us. Whenever you create a Snowflake account, by default, Snowflake shares this data. Okay, so if you go to the shares here. So share is basically an object through which you share the data. Okay, so if you go to shares, you will see this sample data, right? This one. So if you see, it's shared by SFC samples, right? There's some account called SFC samples. They are sharing this data with us. Any other example anybody can give apart from Shiva of data sharing? We have seen that very early in the class.
Data marketplace,
Data marketplace, right?
where we can extract the other data.
Guys, I am not able to I'm getting some jumbled voice from Venkat side. Is everybody able to hear properly for Venkat? Anybody else?
Yeah.
Just a minute, Venkat. I am muting you. Vinod, am I audible properly?
Yes, Abdul, you are audible properly. I think Venkat's voice is actually breaking.
Right. I'm getting some disturbance from Venkat side.
Yeah, for me also. Your voice and Vinod's voice are clearly audible to me.
Clear, right? Okay, fine.
Yeah, Venkat, this time when he talks, I found some break.
Right. But I could make out what Venkat is saying. So basically, he was talking about data marketplace. So if we go to data marketplace, right? See what it says, discover new external data, right? So if I go here and say I want to access some external data of my area of interest. So if I just go here, so this is what the Snowflake has provided us, right? A feature called Data Marketplace, where we can access some data set of our choice, right? For example, I can go to the categories and I want to say choose something from here, maybe finance related data, maybe weather related data, sports related data, or transportation or travel or whatever, right? Or geospatial, health and lifestyle. I want to know what is happening in the COVID world, right? So I will, and this is all what is the WHO report? What is the situation? COVID-19 situation report. Okay, I want to access that. So these are the external sources who come and put their data sets on the Snowflake, and they let you access them. Okay, so if I say click on it, so this is for free. Okay, you can request the data here, and you can just write your name, etc., whatever you want. Okay, and just fill on this data and request the data, right? So see, data is updated daily, data for global at country level, data between this, free to send request, the provider will reach out directly. Okay, so this is this requesting data in a free, that they won't charge you, but there will be some data sets which you can, which a company will upload in Snowflake, and they will charge you for it. It could be that also. For example, you want to access the shares data every day, but you don't want to import it in your database, create a pipeline, receive files from all those shares related data, process it daily, and if there's some issue, wake up your engineers in the middle of the night, see what is there, have P1 calls, blame on each other. If that particular whole scenario from between is cut out. Okay, so you can also put those companies who are interested to share data sets, they can also put in the Snowflake marketplace for charge also. So here it will not show you as free here. Okay, so it will say request data or something like that, pay for it or whatever, and they will reach out to you, and then you can have some negotiations with them, come to a deal, come to a contract, and then they will start sharing with you. And where will you be able to see is in your, once they start sharing, you will be able to see in your databases, like how you are seeing this Snowflake sample data, right? So that way there will be another database which will come here as a share, and you'll be able to access that data without any hassle of that whole pipeline. All you have to do is request, correct, or pay. If it is not free, you have to pay. So one such place is that data marketplace, and you can also upload your data sets here. Okay, but there is no anything. There's not anything provided as such where you can upload it. But I'll just show you. So you can request to join Snowflake Data Marketplace as a provider, right? Or suggest new data sets to be added to Snowflake Data Marketplaces using either the new web interface or web forms in the Snowflake website. So in the web interface, in new Snowflake web interface, navigate to Data Place Marketplace home and scroll to the bottom of page. Click Get in Touch to submit a request to become a data provider. So this is, see, interested in becoming a data provider, get in touch. Is there data you would like to see on Marketplace? Let us know. So this is you. There's no, there's not something, some say feature or some ribbon item provided where you can create a database and upload it on that data marketplace. You have to reach out to the Snowflake support team from here. Okay, so they are saying that you can do it from the new web interface. Okay, so I think this is the new web interface, right? So let's try to go there on the Snow site here. Welcome to Snow site. Go to Snow. So here we should have marketplace. And it says go to the bottom of the page. See. So say get in touch or let us know. So if I click this get in touch, okay, so become a partner and all those things you have to do. Okay, there's no ribbon item like how we create databases, right? From here, we go here and create a database. Nothing like that is there. If you want to share your data sets, you can do through getting in touch with them as a data provider, or you can, if you want to suggest that, I need this kind of data. For example, if I want cricket related data sets from say crickinfo.com or espn.com, so you can suggest from here, let us know, right? And here, as you can see, for some data sets, you will see personalized, right? And for some, you will see nothing. Okay, so nothing where you see is nothing but standard. They're called as standard. So there are two ways of, these are called as listings. When you share the data, these are called as the type of listings, personalized, and if there's nothing, it is standard. Okay, so if I go to say a personalized one, suppose this one, bright data, what it does is personalized one. E-commerce and shopping. Because I'm getting some echo. Not able to mute Venkat. Yeah, he's muted. Yeah. So what is this? Receive large scale reliable data effortlessly from any e-commerce website. Okay, so if I go here, it is personalized. See, it says available on request. Right? See what it says. E-commerce data sets include. So it will give you the whole description here, like what kind of data set it is. Okay, this whole text will be there. It will give you an idea of what kind of a data set it is, right? And from data sets include Amazon sellers, products, reviews, Walmart products, so on. And they will give you certain query examples also, like how is my competition going about pricing and targeted advertising campaigns. So this query, like what have they done? They have some table called bright_data e-commerce products with title like shoes order by price. So for shoes, they are saying what is which brand is doing basically, what is the price in terms of which brand basically. Okay, so they will give you certain brief ideas of what kind of data sets, what are kind of queries and all that you can write. Okay, but as you see, whenever you see a personalized data set, it is not going to be free. It means it's not free, right? It will be available on request. So if you click on request data, you have to send all this information and they will get in touch with you. This provider company, they will get in touch with you and tell you, okay, you need to pay us $10 a month, $20 a month, whatever it is. And once you say buy it, okay, it will start showing up here. Okay, it will start showing up here. You can access the data, whatever. So the beauty of this is, firstly, there's one, guys, just give me a moment. I'll just plug in my charger. Just a yeah. I'm audible, right, guys? Okay. Yeah, thank you. So the beauty of it is, suppose they add. Okay, so they're saying Amazon sellers, Walmart, and all that, right? So they would have some sellers table. Imagine, right? And it would have Amazon details, Walmart details, and all that. They will have a products table. It would have Walmart products, Amazon products. say, and now imagine you have bought the data and it is getting shared with you, and you have it present here, right? You're able to access those tables, sellers, products, and all. So the beauty of this is, suppose tomorrow Flipkart joins that data set company, okay, and say Flipkart says, your data sets are being purchased by so many companies, and I want to expose my products for my advertising also. So please put my data set here in your tables, and I will pay you something. So they will basically pay this company, Flipkart and all, Flipkart, eBay. If it's Australia, there's Good Brothers. For US, there might be some. Of course, US is Amazon, and other countries they'll have their own famous e-commerce providers, right? So they'll come and join this company and say, okay, I want to please put my details also here, and they will do that. And as soon as they add or insert products details, suppose for Flipkart, okay, say some 1,000 products they added in their table, it will be immediately available to you whenever next time you fire the query. As soon as they insert, and if you fire the query, you will start seeing Flipkart details immediately. Okay, which means we have been able to overcome so many issues compared to the traditional way of sharing data. Correct? We have not done FTP, we have not done email, we have not, the data is not out of date, right? There's no ETL involved as such. Only simple queries you fire. There's an instant live data sharing. This is instant live data sharing. So you can imagine the kind of hassles it has removed, right? And all this basically also it is not going to incur you much charges. Only the charges that will incur from a consumer point of view is the selects that you will do. Your warehouses will charge you for the compute that you're using, because there will be no storage charges, because the provider is not sending the data to you. When the data marketplace is basically sharing the data, right? You will start seeing here, for example, imagine this is the e-commerce company which provided data to us, and we are able to see these details here. There's schemas, the tables, this customer and all that. This data is actually not residing here in my account, in my Snowflake, this XM78445. This data is not actually in my account, Snowflake account. In my behind the scenes, this is S3, right? It's not there. It is actually at the provider side only. There's no data movement at all. This is being shared through metadata. So the account which has shared this data, it has shared its metadata with my account. And that is how I am able to see instantly any change happens. So suppose this particular account changes the phone number of this particular customer, I'll be able to see immediately this change. So do you appreciate the beauty of this as compared to the traditional way of sharing data, or you don't? I want your inputs. What do you think of this? Like, we can start with Shiva and then Venkat,
Yeah. Yes,
We'll see the demo also.
appreciate-
We'll see the demo also.
Yeah, it is good feature, but it won't be useful for everybody. Right?
Sorry?
It is good feature. It won't be useful for everybody.
Okay. Like how?
Right. No, not everybody uses Snowflake. Right? There are 100 organizations. Only 5 or 10 organization uses Snowflake. Right. So in
No, I
that,
agree. I agree. No. See, if you have different database, obviously, you won't be able to access this feature because it's limited to Snowflake. So we are comparing the method of data sharing.
Yeah, it's an excellent feature. It's excellent feature.
And even if you have Oracle, say, imagine you have two sources Oracle, destination is Oracle. Let's imagine that way, right? So will you get such kind of a data sharing in those databases?
No way.
No
As
way,
long as
right?
it is a cloud, right? Yeah. If you have a Redshift, I think the Redshift also there should be some option. If you have Azure,
no, I'm not aware. I am not aware. If you are aware, let me know. I am honestly not aware of it.
Okay, I do not know, but there anything cloud, right? Even if there
Yeah.
is a okay, even Redshift also, I'm not sure. I didn't go through much, but if there is any way, the common place, right? If you see cloud, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
If we have the file in the cloud, any S3, anyone can go and access. Correct. It is a
Yeah.
common way, common place to store. So anyone can go and access. If I place the public S3 bucket, anyone can go and access. It is real time,
So see,
right?
Shiva, see. If we are here, if you place your file into S3, the consumer who needs to load that file still has that data pipeline
Yeah,
of
yeah, yeah,
loading the file.
yeah. I agree that. Agree that.
Correct.
Yeah, it is an excellent feature. Yeah, we cannot. Nobody can deny that. It's a very good feature.
See,
I
they
agree.
boast of Snowflake boasts of it as a unique feature. Okay. I
Yeah.
mean, they say
Okay.
that nobody has come up with this kind of data sharing. So I am not aware of if
Oh,
Redshift has
okay.
this kind of. They boast it as a
Uh,
unique feature of data sharing.
okay.
Okay, and we will see a
I did
demo
not know.
also.
I
No,
did
that
not
is
know.
fine. That is fine. We will see a demo. I'm just saying, do you find it fascinating? That is my, like, what is your
Yeah,
reaction?
it is a very good feature. Even it will get rid of the conventional extract,
Yeah,
transform, and load, right?
right, right.
So we just need to transform the way we
Yeah,
need. That's all. There is
absolutely.
no extract and load. Just a transform piece.
That's
That's
right.
it.
Right,
Yeah.
right,
I can use some DBT, some ETL to DBT tool, right?
right,
I can run query the table the way I want. Then I can use it, right? That's all.
right. What about Venkat and Vinod? What about Vinod? Let's start with Vinod. Venkat is having some problems. Vinod, what do you think of this feature?
Yes, Abdul. So this is actually new to me also, but on the SAP front, there is another ETL approach which is called SLT. So
Mhm.
SLT is a SAP landscape transformation, which is actually an ETL tool, which is
Mhm.
based on a trigger based. So whenever there is a new set of data that is coming and loaded into this, the logging table will pull up and then it will be loading into the target system. But this is
Okay,
completely a new one, uh, which is which we cannot tell this is an ETL process, as well as this is not like a conventional transformation that we are looking at.
okay. So coming back to your SLD ETL tool. So basically, in your source, if there's a change, there's some triggering happening, and your
Yes,
SLD is doing a processing to load that into your consumer, right? Target
yes,
database.
yes,
So
yes.
basically, those data is getting stored at two different places. Your
Correct,
provider, your source, as well as target, correct?
correct, correct.
But here it's not the case.
Yes,
It
yeah,
is
that
this,
is a game changer actually. Yeah,
right, right. So this is nowhere in our in this account. I am able to see this from my account, right? This what is this account name? X something, right? XM whatever. This is my account identifier. This data is actually not residing at my place at all. I'm
correct.
just able to see it from the through the metadata that is shared from the provider.
Yes,
Right? This one. This one. This is my data provider. That Snowflake sample SFC data. They they are sharing metadata here with my data. This is my account consumer,
correct.
and I'm able to see it through. There's no data movement at all.
Yes, yes.
Okay. So this is a very good feature and very fascinating feature provided by Snowflake. And I explained you how what are the listings in data marketplace, how you can. Sorry, somebody has messaged. Basic.
No,
Okay.
I just shared a blog that is explaining high level view of SLT. So when you find time, you
Replication.
can go through it.
Sure,
So,
sure.
but
So
this is
yeah.
totally a different one, which is actually a ETL tool basically, but it is a real time replication. So, but here
Okay.
in this Snowflake part, there is no data movement. That I agree. That is a game
Yeah.
changer.
Through this same thing, using the data sharing concept, we will be seeing data replication also in future classes. Okay, like how you replicate, for example, if I have this is my demo DB, right? Suppose something happens to this account, from where will I can always get it back from the fail safe also. But if I that will take some time. You have seen yesterday that we have to reach out to Snowflake support and it can take several days or weeks or something they have said, right? But suppose if I want to immediately start my backup system, I want to suppose I have a website, right? And it is pointing to this account, this database. And I am showing, say, shares data, live shares data. And suddenly this account, something happens to it and it goes down. So I want to immediately do disaster recovery and switch to some other account, some other replicated database. So my work continues. So that also we'll see. So that is called as replication, right? I mean, you are creating replications so that something goes down, the other comes up, which is the thing about disaster recovery and all that. So backup plan or contingency plan, whatever. So that also we'll see through the use of data sharing itself. Okay. So this was about data marketplace, and let me just go back here. Then personalized is one when you will not be able to get it for free. You need to contact the data provider, and you do a contract, whatever, and then immediately you'll be able to see the data in your system. When it is not, go back. When you don't have anything written on the set, it will be it is called a standard also. There are two types of listing basically, personalized and standard. So if you don't see anything, it will be standard actually, and you can get it for free. So I was just looking, yeah. So if you see here, it says, let me click it here. It says quarterly financial statements of Snowflake. What is it saying? You will find Snowflake, GAAP, historical financial, including this income stat, all that, statement of cash flows and all that. So you will see some sample queries also, which once you import once they start sharing the data with you, you can fire these queries on them and get some results. And if you see, it is free because it is standard listing, correct? Is it mentioned here somewhere? It's not, but it is a standard listing. And here they will not say request data, they'll say get data immediately, right? So once you get it for free, so once you click on get data, the name of this data share, financial statement share, this database will start appearing in your database. Okay, by default, account admin will have access. See which roles in addition to account admin. So obviously by default, account admin can access it. But if you want some more roles to get access to the database, you can add here also. If you don't do it here, you can do it later also. So we'll see that also how to do it, right? See, I will not give anyone unselected. Okay, and I'll say get. It says done. Okay, and let me copy some of the queries from here. Some small query. Maybe this one. And let me go and see the shares. See, I've got it. Financial statement share. Who shared it? Snowflake shared it. And the database they created in it's a shared database actually. This is by the name of financial statement share, and the object through which they are sharing is financial statement share. This is the share object. Okay, and this is inbound. So I am receiving the data from someone, right? I am the consumer. So it is an inbound share. Correct? So if I give it to someone, it will be outbound. Okay. So, but I am receiving it. So it is an inbound. So if I go to the worksheets, and let me close all this. See, financial statement share, right? Let me select it. Earning reports is the schema. Let me copy that query. Okay, see the schema, earning reports. This table is called as quarterly results. If I see, this data is not residing in my account at all. So tomorrow, if they say change this value, I'll be able to immediately see it the moment they change it. And if I fire this query, I will be able to see it immediately. Okay. So that is how I did it. But if I go and choose another role, suppose my default account admin is there. If I change it to say sysadmin, see, it's gone.
Abdul, I have a question. You have
Yeah.
they asked me to select some roles, right? Which means that access only appear to the particular role of your account. That is what that means, right?
Yeah. By default,
now
account admin will have the role. I mean, I have the access. But if you want to give it to some other roles in your account, like you should be able to access that share for other roles also, you can give at that time when you are getting data, right? At that time, you can specify. So I did not give.
Okay. Now I can give the access to the particular object to my other roles, right?
Yes. So what you can do is you can go to shares here and what to
I
do?
think there is a privileges to give access to others, right? Abdul, if I'm not wrong.
Yeah, there is something called as import privileges. Just I'm looking at that. To import, yeah, see this. So I'll have to give it to account admin. So what is my database name? Imported privileges. I think some spelling mistake. Just a minute, I'll get it from documentation. See, Snowflake provides a set of privileges for the Snowflake data marketplace or data exchange. So data exchange is when basically you are a provider, you upload data on the data marketplace and you have a listing as personalized, and then you want only specific people to see it. So they will obviously request data to you and then you can grant it either for zero money or whatever money you want to charge them. But if you do it as a standard, still that is data exchange, but you are basically exposing your data set to everyone who is going to access Snowflake. Okay, so it's one of the same thing almost. These privileges can be granted to other roles to perform certain tasks, right? So that is grant imported privileges. So when you want to give access to a data share database, you have to give import privileges. So I have written the wrong spelling, I think. P-R-I-V. P-R-I-V. P-R-I-V-I-L-E. Yes. Done. Okay. So what it means is grant import privileges on database. This means to sysadmin means sysadmin can also see the shared database. That is for imported privileges on database, only for shared databases. Okay. So if I go here, earlier, if you remember, I was not able to see through sysadmin. I was not able to see. If I refresh, now I'm able to see. And if I fire that query, this session doesn't have. Okay. So I can give to other roles also like that. I can change the role here. So this imported privileges is specific to the shared databases.
Okay, which means that when we request, we can request to the any roles of the current account. Then after we got the access, we can share that to any other role by giving the imported privilege. That is what, right?
Yes. Okay, yes. Yeah. If you have some customized role, that also you can give it to any role. Okay. Okay, guys.
Because in
So
the
I
real
think,
time, yeah, in real time we
yeah,
create a lot of rows, right? Specific to tables.
yeah. You can
Yeah.
give any role here. This is not just for Snowflake provided roles. This is any customized role also you can give. You want me to
Yeah.
create one role and show?
No. It is fine. No, it is fine. I got it. Correlating. It is a good feature, right? Even if I don't have a Snowflake account, right? It is
Yeah.
not big deal. I can purchase an account which
No. I
only.
will come to that. See, I will
Yeah.
come to that. Even if you don't have a Snowflake account, I will show you how you can still share data.
Or else
So,
there is other option, right? I can create a new user and do a role specific to some. I can create a new user and role to my consumer. They can log into my account only, and they can access my data, right?
but you wouldn't want to, you wouldn't want them to use your account, right? So there's a feature. I will show you once we come to the other part of data sharing demo and all that, right? That I'll show you when you don't have an account or you don't want to have an account at all. Then that is also possible. Snowflake has a feature through which you can do that. Okay, so that also I will tell you. Because see, what you are saying is create a user here, right? Create a user here and give them the login and password. And
Yeah, for example, I have only two tables that needs to be shared to some organization which would like to consume my data. They don't have a Snowflake, right?
right,
There's someone they don't even cloud. They don't have a cloud.
right,
But if they want to use it, what I will do, I will create an account. I will create a warehouse specific for them, right?
right,
Those account can execute the Snowflake query only through that warehouse, only these tables, right? If I give the access by default when they log in, whatever the warehouse which cost, the
right.
billing of the warehouse, I can share. This is the billing that you have used it. Access my data. This is so how many times you accessed. This is the cost, right? The data storage cost is something that I will bear it. Only the way the accessing, right? The warehouse cost that you have to bear.
Correct. You can do that also, but then that is up to you if you want them to access your account with some other user. God forbid, some security lapse happens and they're able to see some data of you. Somebody by mistakes, you will have to keep a record of those users, right? You will have to keep a record of those
Yeah,
users.
yes.
That these are,
Yeah,
yeah,
it has their own pros and cons, but
right.
yeah.
But what you are saying is achievable. But whatever you said is achievable. But Snowflake has other way of doing the same thing which you are saying. So we'll see. We'll look into that, like how
Okay.
Snowflake does that. It is somewhere similar only. Whatever you said, the philosophy is similar only, but it is in a better, you can say, in a more secure way.
Yeah, for us, right? For us, the project that I have telling, right?
Yeah.
So they have created they have given a Snowflake account for us. So we
Hmm.
log into their account. We when we use the copy command, right? We have to log in, right?
Yeah.
So from the external stage, AWS, we have to log in to Snowflake. Then only we can run the copy command, right? We can, right?
Right.
So
Right.
in
Right.
that case, they gave the user for us. We use
Hmm.
through their user ID and password. We log in and insert
Okay. So
because
that is fine.
they
That
don't.
is
Yeah.
that is up to them how they are managing. But Snowflake
Be-
has different ways. I mean, what you are saying is achievable, and it is quite possible. Of course, it is possible. But there's another way of doing it in a neater way. I'll show you that later on.
Okay.
Okay, guys. So yeah, so we'll stop here and we will see for the demo. Demo will take a little long because it's a big script that I have created. Okay, how you will share data with another account, another Snowflake account, and how you share data when your Snowflake is also AWS and the consumer Snowflake is also AWS in the same region. But what if they're not in the same region? What if they are using different cloud providers? So there are some different ways of doing that. So that scenarios we have to look at, and what if, and the other scenario is what if the consumer doesn't have a Snowflake account? So one way of doing is what Shiva just said. You create a new user for them, give particular access to whatever tables they want to have a look, and they can do their work. And but there's something else also. There's another way of sharing data with a non-Snowflake account consumer. So that also we'll see. Okay. So next week we'll finish off this data sharing. So it's a little big topic. Today I wanted to cover data marketplace and data exchange. So yeah, so we'll look into it. We'll look into the normal data sharing that we, for example, I have this employee data, right, in my demo DB. If I want to share it with other account, so how can we do that? In that case, we will not upload on data marketplace, right? We'll share from my database, my data set to some other account. So to say Shiva's account or to say Vinod's account. So Vinod, your account is active, right? Your Snowflake account.
Yeah, I did not open it for 1 week. I'll check.
Yeah, just see. And your region is what? Mumbai, right?
Yes.
Okay, so even if it has expired, so just create a new account using the same ID and use this Asia Pacific Mumbai only.
Okay.
Okay, and use AWS only. Okay. Okay, guys. Okay, so we'll stop here and we'll connect next week and we'll see the other way of data sharing from say my tables data sets to some other account who wants it. Okay, not through data marketplace or like that. Okay, then thanks for your time and I'll see you next week. Bye-bye.